Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. Bulls continuing their bounces, closing at the high of the day with an exclamation point on things. Starting to look in the other direction now that we've been bouncing for a few days with lots of names still scouting those daily lower highs. Let's see what needs to shape up for them to be set. So we started the morning with the S&P 500 futures chart attempting a 4-hour bull flag and failing pre-market. So then what we were watching was the low of that consolidation. We know if that failure is going to follow through in the other direction, that low has to break, and it didn't. So we can see we had a low. We tried to confirm the 4-hour bull flag. We failed, but we held the low and then followed through later in the day. And then we just kept the hourly uptrend going. Hourly higher low established midday. So we're keeping the hourly uptrend as our guide because we know this bounce is not going to top out as long as we keep setting hourly higher lows. So the last one here for SPY was 465.27. And we're looking up at our resistance, the all-time high. That's it. 472.87, 473.54 right behind it. So the question we have, is this going to be a V-shape to new all-time highs, which we know SPY can certainly do, or are we going to set a daily lower high and tighten up into the end of the year? Tomorrow is going to be telling. I said that yesterday, and obviously today was very telling as far as bounce continuation. Never lost the hourly uptrend. NASDAQ 4-hour time frame this morning was the same thing. Bull flag attempt, didn't get any follow through, and then when the bell rang, we got that follow through, and QQQ keeping that hourly uptrend. Higher low is now 390.76. And again, at no point was there any question as far as there's no fake outs. There's no big drop. There's no big bear volume. Only plays here are top fishing, looking to try and nail the high. But again, it's the kind of scenario where you don't want to be trying that trade after trade after trade. It's okay to allocate yourself an attempt or two, but you don't want to constantly fight the momentum once the bulls take back over. So looking at the NASDAQ futures, we know we've got our key resistance zone approaching, and we will be extended if we test that resistance zone from here, just like last time. Last time we had a big time bounce and rejected hard. So here we are with a little bit more consolidation on the way up, but it's still a clear resistance zone that we are headed towards. And if we look at it from the 12-hour perspective, we would definitely be a bit extended if that level were to be tested from here. So we can say on QQQ that anything under make that 398.48 is a daily lower high. But the hourly uptrend remains our guide. SMH, bulls have a good day today. So here on the daily, straight bounce off the lows. We know anything under 312.35 is just a daily lower high, but the bulls are creating space that when we top out and when we lose the hourly uptrend, we will scout a daily higher low, anything above 288.14 the next time we consolidate. The sector is keeping this weekly consolidation very healthy with EMA 12 as support. And just looking at our retracement sizes from the last consolidation, pullback of about 40%, 42% or so. So we know that's remaining healthy. And looking at NVDA, 4-hour falling wedge-like setup, still in play. We're approaching resistance. Anything on NVDA under 311.60 is just a daily lower high. So keeping an eye on that resistance line. Tesla bulls had a really big day today, and Elon Musk giving clues that he's done selling for now, and everybody acting on that with the gap up open. Quick little flush to 5-minute oversold conditions into a big time run from there. 6% to the upside after that quick little profit taking on the gap up open. It too formed an hourly higher low. And when we top out on this bounce, plenty of space for bulls to be scouting a daily higher low. So what a swing trading bull is going to do is saying, I want to get in for a monthly higher low on Tesla. Next time we consolidate on the daily, making an entry or maybe scaling into a couple entries and putting a stop under the low at that point. But like everybody else, the hourly uptrend is our guide on this bounce to see when daily consolidation is going to take shape from here. Healthcare, all bulls. Inside bar bull break right off daily EMA 12 and 139.59 all-time high right back in play. And we know this has been one of our most bullish major sectors over the last couple of weeks. And now we're just seeing other sectors try and join it. And our new line in the sand support, 135.38, to gauge whether or not the bulls are maintaining their complete control. Financial sector, solid bounce, but anything under 39.74 is just a daily lower high. That's still a ways away. At this point, we bounced $1.41 from the low, but we still have another $1.10 to get back to that level. So we're using the hourly uptrend as our guide, just like everybody else. Higher low is 38.48. We're at a point right now where I am only comfortable looking bearish for initiating new positions. And if you recall, I forget exactly when it was, but I believe it was right here where I had that same mindset saying, okay, we've got our bounce, big bounce, but I'm not comfortable with bullish entries until daily consolidation because we have not changed daily trends on many names. And it took me being patient for a couple days, had to sit on my hands and patiently wait. And then we finally got a big enough pullback where two things happened. Number one, could profit to the downside, but number two, could then be comfortable looking long again. So for me personally, once you start to get the V-shaped bounce like this, I no longer am comfortable looking long as far as initiating positions. So I look bearish, and I did today. I'll give an example of how I traded today. But once we get that daily consolidation, it's like a sigh of relief. Okay, things have cooled off. Daily higher lows are being set. Let's see about those trend changes. IWM, continuing to bounce. Again, we're seeing some risk on. Again, it's crypto green. It's cannabis green. It's IWM green. We broke resistance of 219.90. The next major pivot is 226.54. If we fail to break that level, it'll be a bit of an inverse head and shoulders setup as we will scout the daily trend change to try and shape up. Hourly uptrend is our guide with anything above 218.64 as an hourly higher low. So the good thing about today and the difference between today and yesterday is that many names yesterday had no hourly support nearby. So we headed into today saying, even if we pull back all morning, we're scouting hourly higher lows on most names. That's not the case into tomorrow because we consolidated midday today and established a support level that's nearby. So it would be possible, depending on how we open tomorrow, but it'd be much easier to lose the hourly uptrend from here than it would be compared to yesterday. So having that nice, clear hourly support level nearby makes things a little bit easier as far as watching for the shift in momentum when that hourly uptrend is lost. Biotech sector, inside bar, broken both directions, but not much follow through. We now have a triple top, 117.14, 117.11, 117.16. And I did not trade this morning because there was AWS was having issues and there were websites having issues and Fidelity was having issues. So holiday volume combined with some issues with my broker, easy decision. I'm not trading today. And it was also interesting to observe as I headed into the morning, I was not as clear on the pre-market setups. And yesterday I was very clear as far as what I was looking for the most likely scenario and confident that it was going to take shape. Gap up, profit taking, hourly higher low, bounce continuation. And so yesterday I was pumped in the zone, ready to go with the live stream, ready to go trading. And it was the clarity that led to that mindset. Today, I was not clear as far as what I was looking for in the short term. And I asked myself, do I feel like trading today? And the answer was, So I traded way less dollar volume today than I did yesterday because I'm just listening to myself. It was clear that the lack of clarity and confidence in the setups was making me less pumped to trade. So I didn't trade all morning and I made one top fishing attempt on XBI and I stopped out break even because we had the high of the day. We rejected from the high of the day all morning. Just like yesterday I was talking about, the biotech sector was showing us relative weakness with IWM again. So I made, it's probably right here, just another top fish with the high of the day, sold half into the little pullback, and then stopped out on the new high of the day. So because I stopped out risk-free by managing my positions in terms of selling partial fairly quickly, knowing I was fighting some short-term momentum, that keeps me, it gives me my ammo back again, because I don't want to take, half day loser, half day loser, trying to short and racking up a multiple day loser. But if I'm break even, tiny loss, break even, I'll keep trying. So from there, patiently waited and I saw the clear rejection. Actually, the rejection hadn't happened at that point, but XBI strong enough bull move and extended enough in the short term as we headed into that resistance, double top at 117. I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And this one played out. And so got a real good entry, probably entered when XBI was 117, exited half into the initial 5-minute consolidation, exited the second half probably on that leg down, and had a decent little win there. Nothing very notable. It was nice that, again, I'm only long in my exposure right now, so SPY long-term benefited, MSOS position benefited, and had a little bit of a win on this bear trade. But overall, not a very eventful day as far as action I was taking today. But again, checking in on the cannabis space, one thing if you're interested in the cannabis space, you already know this, but Canadian MJ often leads bull moves, like yesterday, CGC 8% green day or something like that. And USMJ did nothing yesterday. But today, USMJ played catch up. And we often see that many times, that USMJ acts as laggards. And part of it, in my opinion, is because for the most part, these names are traded on the OTC, not the ETF here, but they're traded on the OTC. You do not have the same amount of automated trading system, bots and algos that are trading tick for tick to the millisecond off of analyzing all this information. There's more of a lag time between that laggard action. So it is worth keeping an eye on and take advantage of. And I didn't this time around, but it's always a good lesson in hindsight. We ended up with a double bottom at the low of yesterday. I missed that aspect of things, but it would have been, a nice low risk double bottom fish that would have paid out nice and well. Again, cannabis space still has tons of proving to do, but it is benefiting from the small amount of risk on that we're seeing the last couple of days. Still keeping an eye on uranium. Uranium didn't have much of a strong day today. I'd love to see red tomorrow to scout the daily higher low to try and set up inverse head and shoulders daily trend change. And again, there's these weekly setups on so many names with 5 pullback weeks trying to get a weekly bounce going. It's on Bitcoin. It was on gold and silver. Let's just go through everything that it was on. So silver, pullback, 5 weeks. The weekly bounce is now underway. Platinum, pullback for 5 weeks. The weekly bounce is underway. Bitcoin, pullback for 5 weeks. The bounce is trying to get underway. Still proving to do. Uranium, same deal. Pullback for 5 weeks, trying to get underway. Still some proving to do. IWM, 5 weeks of pullback, weekly bounce underway. So they're all the same setup. Some names are already bouncing. Others are trying to follow. The dollar is heading to daily support. As we know, any bull in any market, we want to see the dollar break support of 95.85. Lose the daily uptrend, confirm a daily downtrend, and see more significant weekly consolidation underway. And we're heading towards that support. And the weakness that we saw in the dollar today benefited gold with a daily higher low set. And silver already had the daily trend change, so silver was back up to its high. I am keeping an eye on a potential 4-hour rising wedge on silver, not anything that I'm going to act on. But again, just all these clues in all these different sectors. And because of IWM and because of stock market strength, I've gone a little bit more aggressive in my crypto portfolio in response to that. And I'm only risking some profits there from earlier this month, but I today went a little bit more aggressive because of stock market strength and just recognizing the similarities of these setups. And I'm looking for Bitcoin to get this weekly bounce going after this 5-week pullback. Still keeping an eye on BABA. And at this point, a bull, again, this is how I trade many times. If I'm looking for a daily high or low, if I'm looking for an hourly bull flag, I look at this setup and say, okay, I don't want to use 108.70 as a stop level. That's way too far away. That's 8% of risk from where we stand right now. I don't want to take on 8% of risk. If I am going to take on 8% of risk, I got to use a real small position. And then I need a big bull move for it to be worthwhile. So what do? I say, okay, if we're going to set a higher low compared to 108.70, that needs to be the low, 113.70. If we're going to change this trend and get bounce follow through, that needs to be the low. So that is the stop level that I use at 113.70. So that amount of risk is $4 instead of $9. It's a very big difference. I have less than half the risk, which means I can use twice the position size if I wanted to and have the same amount of risk if I was going to use the level back here. The probability of stopping out is higher, absolutely, because it's a closer support level. But again, it's the setup saying, okay, well, if we're going to set a higher low compared to 108.70, bulls need to do so right here and right now. And we can see after rejection, so we rejected from EMA 12 and dropped to a lower low. Rejected from EMA 12, dropped to a lower low. Rejected from EMA 12, didn't drop to a lower low. Is that enough for the momentum shift to take place? Maybe. That just reminded me of Bitcoin, a Bitcoin clue recently. Very similar. Daily, rejecting from EMA 12, lower low. Rejection, lower low, rejection. Double bottom, shift is on. Just little tiny clues. So curious to see how Baba shapes up. All right, don't forget to do good things. Have a good holiday. Last trading day of the week tomorrow. And we'll see you sometime soon. Do good things. Hey everyone, chapter 12 of Adventure Time, and here we are headed into Telluride, Colorado. Great little mountain town, a little bit of a ski resort kind of town, but as you can see, it's wonderful. They've got some nice old little shops lining the streets, and mostly tourists, I would say, that come in, but not too bad in terms of, it's again very small, so not too overcrowded. So I went here, like I said, on couchsurfing.org. I got in touch with people. They said, hey, there's a music festival in town. You should check it out. You can volunteer and see it for free, get a free ticket. And there's a spot just outside of town where you can camp for free as well. This is one of the areas I wish I took a picture of the road that I would have to go up every day to get to my camping spot. But in my little Honda Civic, 2-wheel drive, this dirt road, steep incline with literally going, 2 feet a minute, more than that, but just navigating around these boulders that are the size of, my tires. So that was a fun adventure, but never got stuck. There's my tenting spot surrounded by a little grove of birch trees. And again, it's free 5 minutes outside of town. You can either pay $100, $200 a night to stay somewhere in town, $100, or for free just outside of town. There's the nice mesh top to my tent to leave you exposed. There's Mr. Byrne. So David Byrne of the Talking Heads, very impressed with his voice. His voice is exactly the same as it was back in the day. And they put on a good show. If you've never listened to the album by David Byrne and St. Vincent, Love This Giant, that's a good album. And it was a very entertaining show where they had a whole brass band and they were choreographed and moving around the stage. And I had never seen live performances of the Talking Heads with him back in the heyday. And just within the last month, I came across those, and I ended up being up until, 2 in the morning just going down this rabbit hole. But they were entertaining, and those were some fun shows to watch. So David Byrne, sweet show, great performance at this festival, the Ride Festival. Cake was on before them. Cake was great. They're hysterical. And then Rodrigo y Gabriel were before them. So pretty good headliners. Again, free music for the weekend. And a bunch of really happy people. That's the venue. That's what's surrounding you. So just really nice nature encompassing area and a big field. And so one of my jobs was as a volunteer, right? So I help with parking, or I help with directing people where to go for camping. In this one, this is a baseball field, obviously. And there's this one path behind me where I'm standing right now or in the picture. And there's a dirt road, and they need to keep that dirt road clear for emergency vehicles. That's just what they have to do. So there's tents in front of me, and the stage is in front of me over here. And behind me is the camping sites with it's in the forest with a bunch of trees, and that's where the majority of people are camped. So they put me in this little doorway that's meant for, to get from the bench on the side of the baseball field onto the field. And they put a chair there, and they had me sit there. So everybody after the show that's wanting to come back to their tenting site walks straight here to me and tries to get through. And I have to tell them, you can't get through here. It's an emergency road. Sorry. You have to go all the way around. And it's not a huge deal. The patient, understanding people among the group were saying, okay, and they would go walk the extra couple hundred yards. But it was an extra couple hundred yards, and it was illogical. You're looking at your tent 200 feet away, and I'm telling you, you have to go walk multiple football fields in a big loop around the outside fence all the way back around. So I'm dealing with a music festival crowd of messed up people, and they're arguing with me, and they're giving me so much hate. And I'm just saying, guys, I'm doing what I'm told to see free music. This has nothing to do with me. Please just go walk around the fence. And these belligerent people, some of them were spitting their venom on me, but fortunately I was able to, I can remember it being very stressful, but got through it. Gondola, there's the town of Telluride, heading up the mountain. Great spot to go. Again, another little great town to check out. And that's that. After that, headed over to, met some nice, cool people. And that was another thing. Again, I don't really, when I'm traveling by myself, I'm in the nature alone most of the time. I interact with people so infrequently that normally, I like being alone. But in these instances, it was good to hang out with people. And I did make some friends and, go hang out with them and go eat some dinner and things like that. So that's always fun. After this, went over to, saw another show. I went to Red Rocks to see String Cheese Incident. So we'll go there next. Hope you have a good day.